Did you start the recording?
Yeah, it's the recording progress.
Call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Phew, tried to add in extra words. We're going agenda free tonight because apparently the supervisor forgot to do one because he was so concerned about trying to get the budget available for the budget session earlier when the Excel wouldn't allow me to print the budget for the budget session earlier. If I hadn't said it before, I love Microsoft and New York State in that order. All right. So everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting? Any corrections, deletions, additions to be requested of the clerk?
They were done.
They were done.
Hearing none. These are the clerk's minutes. Bear with me 1 second. I try and open up at least last month's agenda so I have a format to follow. You think I would know it by now? Oh, I thought I'd do that so somebody will ask. Thank you, Herb.
You're welcome, John. Okay.
Public comment. Anybody from the public have anything they would like to say tonight? Fear not, there's another public comment at the end of the meeting.
You look good without the beard.
Oh, thank you. I got cornered somewhere in a store and the comment was, you know, with a white suit, you'd look like Colonel Sanders. I promptly went home and shaved it off and then realized I wasn't as old as I thought I might be. Thank you. Only losing weight was as easy. All right, that brings us to highway and transfer. Would you still like to be at the top of the meeting? I can put you back.
No, I'm good.
You sure? Okay, go ahead.
Haul garbage and recycling, blew leaves off the trails and roads, spread gravel on the Musselburgh Plains Road and smoothed off some of the chattered hills. Spread some gravel on the Uncas Road, installed the culvert on the Gilbert Road gravel section. We prepped the site on the Uncas Road for a culvert replacement. We blacktopped some sections of the Elaine Townsend Trail that we had to continuously repair after rainstorms. Thank you to the town of Long Lake for sending us 2 trucks. Hogan Excavating for doing the laydown for Gorman Construction. A huge thank you to New York State DOT for sending us flaggers so we could have a closed lane to make our job site safe. We've backed up the driveways, spread topsoil and seeded the edges. Shoulders were put on the Uncas Road. Thank you to Hamilton County Highway Department for their road widener trucks and manpower. We raked Evans Drive and Gilbert Road. Put up hometown hero banners for the Legion. And that bid on the truck from Auctions International was $9,700.
Oof.
Terrible.
What were you expecting?
I was hoping for at least like 15 or 20.
I was thinking, I would guess like 20.
So I need an answer whether reject. If we reject, then we have to give a counter offer.
Is there any thought that if we wait until winter, somebody might be down a truck and all of a sudden need an emergency truck, the price might go up?
That's a really good idea.
That's just in the back of my head. Cause that number seems, just,
Leave it out there. You can't go wrong now.
If we reject, we still have to give a counter offer.
I would probably give a counter offer of $25,000.
Yeah,
If that's,
the way it's up there, and if they come back at 20, then we can decide.
Cause they can counter again.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I don't think,
I don't think they're gonna take 25, but let's see what they come back with.
That's fine.
And you know, if you think that, you know, you're hoping 20,
About 20.
and again, I think need might come into it. Do we were selling that without blades, correct?
Selling it
With blades.
with blades.
So it'd be
And it
ready.
runs, right?
So to be ready to go for somebody that needed it.
Yeah.
I got a funny feeling that might happen. I don't know why.
I'm fine with it if you guys are. I just,
You have room for it?
nope.
We have no time limit on how long it can be on there.
Exactly, there's no time limit on it, is there?
You just leave it on there, that's true.
I mean,
Like,
it's,
You have to-
The auction
you have to-
ends, yeah.
It's stupid.
it's sitting outside now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, just make sure it runs once a week.
Yes.
That would be my big thing.
So you want to counter with 25?
That would,
25.
Yeah,
Okay.
see what happens.
Okay.
unless, if you think I'm nuts, I just, I wouldn't
Well,
counter.
you're nuts, but that's a different. There, I said it. I said it. Somebody was. gonna say it.
I put it out there.
Okay, that's what I.
Matter of record now.
They are her minute.
Anything else, sir?
Yeah. Coming up, we're gonna plow and sand soon, I'm sure. All garbage recyclables. Actually, we installed that culvert on Uncas Road today. Huge thank you to town of Long Lake. They came down and gave us a hand putting it in. We're gonna get our plows ready, plows and winter equipment ready for snow season, service the trucks and equipment. And spread some more gravel on Uncas Road and do some York raking in Moose River Plains. And that's all I have for highway.
Any questions of highway? Hopefully the culvert wasn't as involved as the one on Parkhurst,
No, it wasn't as involved,
but that's gonna,
but it's still a good job done because that culvert flooded the road a couple times last year.
it's gonna answer some of the questions you've been getting from some people up there.
Yeah.
Yep, very good. Good job.
Did you take it out with your own digger or did you use it?
No, we did it with our own machine.
That's cool.
Yep, no issues. Nice to have the reach, the power.
Good deal.
Transfer?
We're on our winter hours, open 4 days a week, from 8 AM to 11:45, then 1 PM to 6:45. Closed on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanksgiving week will be closed on Thanksgiving Day, but we'll be open on that Friday, the 29th. Most of all the old units that had freon in them have been pumped down and scrapped. Station's clean and orderly, and Peter has come back over to the highway department for the win.
Any questions of transfer? All right, good. Thank you, sir. I'd like to remind everybody that we still have the public hearing open from the Zoom meeting local law from last month. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to take a look at that online or heard about it last time. If anybody has any questions at any point in time during the meeting, you can raise your hand and say, hey, I forgot I have a question on the Zoom meeting law. We'll probably keep that open until the end of the meeting and close it. Unless we don't hear anything and you want to close it now. It's what's the pleasure of the board. We've had 2 meetings where it's been
Yeah.
available, it's online.
Meeting, it doesn't matter to me. I think we should deal with it tonight.
I think we're good to go with it.
Well, do you want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
To adopt the Zoom meeting law?
I'll do that.
I'll second it.
Second, discussion. Having been in front of the board for 2 consecutive meetings, having been posted online. I would like the clerk to call the vote.
Councilman Brownsell.
Aye.
Councilman Schmidt,
Aye.
Supervisor Fry,
Aye.
Councilman Levy,
Aye.
Councilman Townsend.
Aye.
Unanimous carry. Send that off to the state for comptroller's stamp of approval. Comptroller's office, right?
No,
State.
State.
Department of State, Secretary of State. All right, I got a couple minutes before our public hearing starts on the budget for next year, right?
Yep.
So do we have an ambient power update?
So actually, do you want to say what you said?
I can be kind tonight. Connie did, apologize, she can't make it tonight, she did send out an email to a few of us. Only thing that she wanted to know if there was any updates on the LED lights or any new estimates.
I haven't gotten anything back from Steve, is his name Steve, whatever his name is.
I'm not that good of a time.
Yeah, from the National Grid.
Yeah.
He needed a new letter of commitment or something like that, which I got over to him before the last meeting.
Okay.
So I'll have to follow up with him. I'll follow up with him and ask him what he's waiting for.
Okay.
Cause that's what happened last time. We waited and waited and waited on him and then he said we had to redo it. So I'll do it again.
I checked our mailbox tonight, just double check to see if the check my employees that work to our side.
Yeah, no, I'll have to follow up with him,
Okay.
which I'll make a note to do.
Alright. That's good, yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Connie's other suggestion though was to like change that thing to, on the agenda, just make it in the area. It's not always about camping.
When I actually have an agenda for next week or next month, I will make sure that happens. Before we jump further into the Fern Park Master Plan, which I know you're all eagerly awaiting, I would like to bring up something, since we have our future chief of police in the back room. If we make a motion, I'd like to make a motion to change his title from officer in charge to chief of police pending the outcome of a civil service exam and welcome him aboard. All a part of the motion, if somebody would be willing to second that.
I'll second that.
Second, discussion. Cliff's been a part-time employee. He's been officer in charge now for 4 or 5 months. Putting him on the spot. He's really happy about this. Cliff's really stepped into this position in a big way. The budget work that he did helped me immensely. We're gonna be making a few changes in the department, but it's a very welcome change and we eagerly anticipate whenever the state gets off its butt to give you that exam. But until then, you are our chief of police if we pass it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried unanimously. Cliff, welcome aboard. Now he's able to sign all that grant paperwork and all that other stuff to bring us good stuff, which he's already been digging into and full speed ahead. So Cliff, I can't thank you enough for number one, coming up here and jumping in. All right, that brings us to 7:45. Now we can talk about the budget. You can see the numbers that he had me put in there. Everybody have a copy of the budget that wants one from the back of the room? I don't know if there's still copies of the budget available. If you haven't sat through one of our budget hearings before, it usually goes very quickly. If you have any questions, we'll keep this hearing definitely open until the end of the meeting. But we're gonna hit the highlights that are on the pages here. And the first one we'll be talking about in the upper right-hand corner, which is line 5, if you read all the way over. The percent of increase after turn backing tax money is 2.73%. It's slightly above what the state always wants us to be, under 2%, or sometimes they modify that number here, there, or wherever. Depending on which line you look at, whether it's highway, ambulance, fire, or general fund, or revenues or whatever. And turn back money, it's gonna be up or down as to whether the general fund is up higher than that percentage, or the fire is up higher than that, or ambulance is up higher than that. But that number in the corner is the number that we go by for increase in the tax rate.
You can pass that anytime.
We can pass it at any time.
Mhm.
Obviously, with that percentage sitting there, one of the things the state makes us do is talk about doing a resolution for overriding the tax cap in New York State. One of the things I've been most frustrated with is trying to get some projects done in town, whether it's the tower project, whether it was the parks project, or anything. When you're talking a $2 million plus budget, sometimes it's hard to keep that 2% in line when you want to try and do some good work, especially when the state tells you, hey, we'll give you a 50% funded grant, if you want this much money, or the feds, like with the tower project, came in and said, we'll give you this one, but you got to come up with 17, 18%. And then they don't take engineering or legal or some of the other stuff. Which is why we're floating above the 2%. Would somebody like to move and it's not a resolution, it's a law, correct?
It becomes a local law.
It becomes a local law after the resolution to override the state tax cap of 2%.
Yeah, I'll do that. Did we do that last month?
I thought we already did that.
Yeah, I thought we talked,
I think we have to reaffirm it. Because I don't,
But we never made a
yeah, we
motion.
should have done last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I was under the impression.
discussion. Yeah, having not done it last month, we need to do it this month.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing it last month either.
Probably did the board.
And this is one of the, as far as discussion, I'll put this in as discussion. It's one of the odd things, school districts and towns have a different level of override. If two people say they don't want to do it here, it still overrides. If three people say yes, at the school, I think it's a super majority, has to be higher. One of the things that I've never been able to understand, we passed the tax cap override on the years that we've needed to do it, with a majority vote. Then why, if you're passing the budget with a majority vote, why do you need to do a tax cap override? Aren't you overriding the tax cap by passing a majority vote on passing the budget? That's my only question. All those in favor of overriding the tax cap, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye, or do you want to call the vote on that?
Probably should call
You do the call vote.
Councilman Brownstown, Councilman Schmidt,
Aye.
Supervisor Fry,
Aye.
Councilman Levy,
Aye.
Councilman Townsend.
All right, revenues, the first two pages plus our revenues. Bear with me because this Excel printing did not go the way I wanted it to, but all the information is on the page. You'll notice some red ink in revenues. That's usually what I will highlight. There's not an awful lot changes in the revenues. The snowmobile permit line, we're able to keep that at $115,000. Moving forward, the 195 number is wrong. That needs to be reduced by $37,208 to $158,701. That's what we received after getting the money back that was in arrears from the town of Webb. So that number seems very high in the revenue, but it's not a real number for sales. It's got arrears money built into it. But I feel comfortable in keeping the 115 number moving forward. Hopefully with the increased percentage that Webb's going to be giving us in a good snow year, like John Khalil has told us is going to happen. We'll see that. The rest of the lines in the revenue, floating in or above or around, most of these are placeholders, hoping that we're gonna get money in. Couple of things have dropped out over the years. Line 33, the refuse contract that we used to have with Hamilton County. Now that we've gone to single stream and some other things, they backed that off. Because we used to do quite a bit of sorting work for Indian Lake and Long Lake, no. Yep, Indian Lake and Long Lake. And that came off of a situation where we used to have a county employee years ago. And they transferred that into giving us a percent money to pay an employee here as opposed to funding that employee, but now that's both totally gone. Flipping the page. One of the other red lines here is mortgage tax. We don't get our second payment until they start handling all their bills up at the county. And you'll see last year we pulled in $53,000, even with the mortgage rate going crazy. I believe we're still gonna hit our $32,000 number, so I've kept that the same for next year. Next biggest change is going to be in line 70, LWRP Tower. We had anticipated getting the monies in over a period of time from the federal government. It hasn't turned out that way. It looks like they're going to be sending us a bulk check, or not a bulk check, a bulk direct deposit tomorrow.
By tomorrow, supposedly.
Supposedly, I'll believe it when I see it. Of how much?
247.
247.
Don't remember the exact amount.
So somehow I've got to figure out a way to play nice with the budget for next year, and by taking out what revenue we won't be getting in. I'm going to try and parse that out over the next couple of years. I'm taking $50,000 out of next year's budget. I'll take 40,000 out of the year after that, then 40,000. If I try and take all that out of the budget in 1 year, it's gonna raise the tax rate up to around 8 or 9%, which looks kind of ridiculous. we're gonna have the money, but it'll be in the bank already. We're getting it actually early. I don't know if that makes sense or not. It floats to the bottom line and we don't spend it on something else, or at least not all of it on something else. Two people have designs on some of that money. One sitting, one standing. All right, next page brings us to the bottom of revenues, line 75. So it's a budget next year of $389,550 in revenues anticipated, $50,000 less than last year. And again, the biggest reason for this is taking that money out of the LWRP. By the end of next year, that'll be down another 40, and it'll more closely resemble what was the 2022 budget over on the left of $340,000. I don't know if I've explained that appropriately. I love numbers and sometimes I get way too into my head on these. If anybody has any questions at any point in time, or you see something I'm not mentioning, feel free to raise your hand. That's it for revenues. That brings us into legislative. On the line that is yellow on the right-hand side, seeing as how Excel refused to float the heading on every page for me. Anything in yellow is the budget without drastic changes. Anything in gray shows either a 3.5% increase for payroll lines or changes in the budget. On the first page, the majority of these are all pay lines going up 3.5%. Town of Inlet doesn't do a merit pay at this point in time increase. I believe the feds are at 2.7% increase right now, roughly, for Social Security. Our way of saying that we have good employees at this point in time is, in my opinion, is saying 3.5 seems to be a combination of a little bit of merit and the cost of living. And quite honestly, I don't believe in the 2.7 for the federal rate because, as we all know, things in the North Country cost a little bit more money to get up here, gas amongst them. And sometimes food. Sorry, Herb. Any questions on this page? All right. Moving on to the next page. Same thing here for the top part. Most of the gray is, or at least one of the gray is a pay increase of 3.5. There's one reduction, the deputy town clerk. She hasn't been using the full amount of hours that we thought she was going to use for the deputy town clerk. Mainly because we hired part-time audit elsewhere in the budget. Engineering and contractual, I've got that bumped up a little bit because we're talking about having the Fern Park master plan, and we're probably going to be going out for an RFP on something. So I want to start building that line up a little bit so we can handle paying for the engineer's report on that. Down in the bottom, the 4 items, the sewer that's in red over there. What was your explanation on the red again?
For who? Oh, sewer. Oh, because that was a cost of a pump.
Yep.
And electricity for our pump, for the town hall pump.
Correct. We do, I've got to come up with another line to break this out. The deal when we put in the sewer project, the sewer is for a sewer district, but the pump station that's out back here, the electricity that runs that pump station also runs the entire campus. We did that so that we could put one generator in and run the entire campus from Route 28 to the lake for the cottages, the bathrooms, this building. So the sewer district pays for the propane to run the generator. The town pays for the electric to run the electric for the town because the majority of the electric use is on the town. So I don't know if it's kind of hard to put a meter on the propane and figure some of that stuff out. Anyways. Central communications and printing, those red lines, these lines have been problems. The warehouse, the entire, all the departments needs, and it's never been funded appropriately. These are always over every year. I'm making an attempt with the 14,000 and 11,500 to actually have a real number in there for the needs. Doesn't seem like people are going to be printing any less or making any less phone calls or using any less internet. And no matter how we try and slice it differently, those prices just seem to stay static. Any questions on that page? Is it too late to get that beer that's in the other room? Not only did I forget to do a agenda, I forgot to bring my water or my Diet Mountain Dew. All right. Top of this is line 134,
Mhm. Shared services.
shared services. And trying to make some things happen a little lower in the budget as we get there. I kind of attacked this quadrant, with the exception of fire and liability and vehicle insurance. I had to raise that up. The communication tower, you can see where I've brought that down to near next to nothing. And you can see where in the previous year, previous year, 2023, we had that $296,000 outlay, and that was for the towers that are on top of Coruscante's Hill that we're slowly being reimbursed for. But sliding all the way over, I don't think we're gonna have any need other than a few expenses up there moving forward. The line 140, 141, and 142, contingency, capital equipment, capital fixed assets. I just kind of peeled some money out of there to try and pay for something a little lower in the budget. You get into the police department, you'll see that. Dog control, had to raise it up 1,000 because now we actually have a dog control officer and a kennel where we have to take dogs if we have to take them. The registrar, they had to that line had to be moved up just to be realistic. Flipping it over. Or I'm flipping over. Next page, 166. Top two on this are 3.5% increases. You'll see under streetlights, there's a red where probably got an extra bill in last year that put us over the budget line. The number that's still there, I don't know, Mike, did you make that change on there? Okay. Yeah, I put $23,000 in there for use. Again, we're hoping the $18,000 number that I still have in there is less than the 22. If we can get those LED lights installed, we should see a reduction. Okay. Now, if somehow I didn't put, you still get your 3.5%, but I didn't put a funny color on your line. What's that?
Yeah, you didn't gray it.
You didn't get gray, you're still yellow there. What's that?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
And when meeting with you, you said no increases were needed in any of the lines. And you'll notice the red ink in the previous year, we were doing other things with support and we've changed that. So no need for increases.
All good now.
Okay. Any questions on this page? What's the next line? I hate this upside down thing. 197?
198, 197 is just.
Yeah,
the header.
198, yep.
198.
And I've got to change this. I've already got it changed to my computer, but I don't have it changed on here. It's no longer cap 21. It is 80K living. I got it backwards. On my Excel sheet, it says living 80K, but not on the printed page. Sorry. And the red numbers there are just because the clerk decided to transpose things in the account lines when she paying them out, but they still got paid out. And hearing no request for more money for living 80K. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Moving into parks, 3.5% increases for both of those. What I don't have showing on this budget, the one big addition here is you'll see Fern Park for future use. The differences in the first draft of budget, last meeting and this meeting, I believe, what was the first number I told you guys I had here? In line 211? 50,000. It's now 5,000. The reality of the budget sinks in after a little while, but at some point when we actually have the engineering study and we need to put money in there, we have to start adding slowly to this. As I'm able to pull a little bit more out of that tower lines elsewhere, I should be able to bring some, hopefully down here by the time we're ready to actually do something up in Fern Park. It's my hope that we wind up with as much of Jewel up in Fern Park as we have here in Arrowhead Park. But it's not an overnight process. And if Peggy was here, she'd be asking about why not. So I'll say it. Sorry, Peggy.
Yes, please.
Did I jump a page too far?
No, you just
You
skipped
just
right over
skipped right
police.
over
You
police.
just went over it like it wasn't even.
Well, you agreed with me.
Just saying, I was.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I fell asleep and then.
You know why?
I don't know.
Because for some reason, just like poor Adele, stayed yellow. I never changed any of the colors on the police line, hoping people wouldn't notice it. Obviously we've had a change. We've gone to a full-time police, chief as of tonight, but he was officer in charge prior to that. We are quite honestly looking with everything that's going on down below in Webb to see if we can't have 2 full-time patrolmen here. So I put it in my budget to see if we can do that. We've got a realistic number in the part-time and snow. Again, I gotta tell you, every year we go over the line in the police department and there's needs for overtime if they're out on a call. There's equipment just isn't as cheap as it used to be. And quite frankly, we're supposed to have better equipment and more equipment to do the job in this day and age than we had before. This is a little bit of a jump for total law enforcement by $74,000. But if you really take a close look at the numbers, you can tell that's pretty much by adding another person to the department. But I'd be lying if I didn't say, and I believe I speak for the board, that with the police department cut in half down below, I think we need to make sure that we can protect our own. And I don't see things changing down there anytime
So
soon.
it's gonna take a while.
Any questions on police? Thank you for bringing me back to that.
Sorry.
You let me go on that.
I was gonna wait till the end.
You're gonna wait till the end?
Yeah, don't you worry, I was gonna call you on it.
Park supervisor.
Park supervisor. 3.5 and park staff 3.5. Yeah, I was talking about the Fern Park future use. Not a lot of other changes up top. One of the things that we're going to be spending some of that federal money on for the towers when it comes back in that we laid out 2 years ago is a new parks truck. I believe Mike is looking for authorization to place a order.
Yeah.
You got quotes,
I have a few. I'm waiting on a few others.
and what are they running roughly?
$52,000 to $55,000.
You just state bid, right?
It is not state bid.
All right, you need to look at the state bid too.
Okay, I was told that wasn't a thing anymore, but
It's not a thing anymore? No.
No.
You don't have anything like it anymore? I mean, I don't know. When I was in school, the state bid was the thing, so.
I think COVID did that, a lot of that stuff in.
You got truck specs then, so you know what you want.
I do. So I have the specs. I've been sending them off to dealers,
Perfect.
best prices.
Yeah.
The only way we could use it would be a neighboring bid if somebody had recently got one, either Old Forge or Herkimer
Just
County.
got one.
But, you know,
I don't know if it's comparable. for
I was
the
gonna
rest,
say
but
comparable.
it's got one.
one of the things, since we have 3 parks employees that I've stated, it's, you know, a 2-seater is no longer a desirable cab and a half. Full cab.
I don't think so. I originally, that's what I wanted it to do. But we need the 8-foot bed more than anything. This is gonna make the truck too big.
To get around.
And,
Wow.
the
Yep.
trucks are bigger now.
Okay.
cabs, So having that middle seat won't be an issue.
Okay.
As long as it's not buckets and you have the center usable.
Right, you'd have to get the bench seat. And I mean, that's gonna save you $6,000 just.
With the 40-40-20 split, they give you that option too, so you got.
Okay. All right, see what's out there, but you're definitely authorized to seek bids. Let us know.
Will do.
And maybe next month we can put an order in. I don't know if any of them saying in stock or not in stock.
The few I've talked to, they're being built now, so they'll be in stock in the next month or two.
Okay,
Um,
keep us posted.
I'm gonna try to find someone that'll do a custom order, so we can get the price a little bit cheaper. You don't have to pay for stuff we don't need.
Gotcha. Very good. All right, any other questions on this page? Yep,
We started line 200 grant program, what does that refer to? On 200?
Oh, that's living 80K. They're transposed. We pay a certain amount to them every quarter for helping us with our grant work.
they came to us with 2 separate requests years ago, and we started with the $2,000 one that was just to kind of support the general program when it was cap 21, and then they wanted to hire a second employee, and I believe at that point it was Nick Rose. And, you know, their hope was that they were gonna have enough money in-house to pay a third, we'd pay a third, and Webb would pay a third. I think by us paying our third, that, I don't know if it actually worked, if Webb finally ever kicked in their third, but I believe they are.
So we,
Yep. And, I believe it goes to pay somebody in the room? No? No, okay. Gotcha. Yep. But we've done very well with that over the years. That's brought us probably more money than we put out. Yep. Okay. All right. And that grant writing that they do down there, that's open, by us doing that, that's open to anybody in town, which I believe. Because the fire halls used it too, right?
Yes,
And they don't charge you for it, right?
no, they don't. They don't.
All right, now are we on to line 258, or am I jumping a page ahead again?
So you're not beach.
The beach and all that stuff.
Arrowhead Cottages beach. 2 right under your. parks guy.
Oh, yep, line 229.
218,
17.
17 to 18, yep.
Oh, yeah, I did jump ahead, didn't I? Well, I did, there weren't any drastic changes there.
No.
Any questions where there are no drastic changes? Okay, now moving forward. Again. The only big change on the next page, I think, is actually down in the library. The windows out front, Mike, have they talked to you about those? They're in pretty bad shape, and they've gotten a quote for replacement of $10,000 to $12,000, I believe. And that's just for the windows themselves. Not quite sure, you know, when they take the windows out, how much rot there's going to be under the windows.
There's a ton, that's the problem.
Yep. So, I've, you know, in conversations with, Joanne Maneely, emails back and forth, they would love for us to put half of that in if we could. So I've added $6,000 to, the library building line 240. I think it's a worthwhile investment. We've been taking care of that building elsewhere. I think we need to keep stepping up. Any issue with that going in there, and that's exactly what it's earmarked for, in case anybody was wondering.
We don't address it, it'll just continue.
Yeah, it's, yes.
Yeah, the windows are gonna fall out.
Maybe the whole building will just dry.
Yep.
So if you wait long enough, we won't have to worry about taking the windows out, just put the new ones in.
Because I know elsewhere in the building, I know the post office is extremely happy with their door. Extremely happy, especially the fact that they now get cross ventilation. All right. Any other questions on this page? I'm just waiting for somebody to ask a question about the red mark under line 253. That was a new groomer we purchased. And lower in the budget, you'll see a number of, that's how much those groomers cost, folks. We took a loan out for $113,000 to offset that. 133, sorry. That's a $20,000 swing. We sold our previous groomer for
Yeah, high 60s.
60, high 60s. So we took money from the bottom line to pay for the rest so that we could keep our payment on the money we borrowed at a low rate moving forward. But if that's not the town supporting snowmobiling, I don't know what is. But I know that looks an awful lot crazy when you see a red line for 296,000 sitting on the left, and I've only got budgeted $5,000 moving forward, but we don't plan on replacing the groomer this year. Any other questions on this page? Now I'm moving on to zoning, correct?
Yeah.
Not a lot of changes on this page, other than a couple of bookkeeping things. The salaries are up to 3.5%, and we removed a part-time line from from transfer. And I believe there was a correction down at the bottom of the page, but that should be already on your copies. Erroneously said 3,025 for total off of $1,000 when it's just 1,000. Flipping the page. End of benefits. You'll see a state retirement number from last year. That was high. We wound up paying 2 years and 1 year. And the fact that this was not broken out, we usually break this line out between general and highway. So this is 2 years worth of, I believe, both highway and general into one line. The 68,000 one would hope would cover. We got dinged for something else this year too for that 94,000. Oh, it hasn't been separated out to highway either. Sorry. I'm missing my Mountain Dew, folks.
Sprite didn't cut it, did it?
Sprite did not cut it. It's caffeine free, yes. The health insurance hospitalization line, again, you'll see the number. I didn't make it red, but I should have. From last year, it's 415. That's again supposed to be broken out between the two, highway and in general. Same for this year's line number here. That should be broken out. And I'm only raising 20,000, even though our rates were going to go up a little bit. We've been approached by having a higher deductible plan. We can keep our rates the same. But if we have a higher deductible plan, I still need to put more money in there just in case we're hitting our higher deductible number. The higher deductible, and I'll say it again, I say it every year. Thank you, Linda Nelson, for bringing that insurance plan to the town years ago. It pretty much makes us 30% self-insured. And it's held our rates down pretty good. So if Linda, if you're online or if Julie's online, listening or watching this later, thank you yet again. And it'll be interesting to note that I guess town of Webb's going to that same plan now. And the county wishes it could go to that plan, but they have too many employees and have been told they are not eligible.
They're over the capacity.
They're over the capacity. I know 2 other towns in Hamilton County have gone to it too. All right, you'll see this other number in red, down on line 303. That's the $133,000 money we received in by taking a loan out for the groomer. You'll see that the $19,000 reflects the yearly payment that we need to make on that. And then the interest is down below. That brings us to the bottom of the general fund. Any questions on the general fund? All right, the next lines in the budget are highway, and there's drastic changes in the lines on highway from line 315 on the bottom of this page, flowing on to the next page. We're no longer going to be plowing the state highway beat. We've turned that over to the state, and that means some things had to be tweaked. Obviously, we're not going to be using as much gas, so I've lowered that line. The snow removal salaries are down a little bit, mainly because we had in there some overtime for plowing the state beat, because winter, if it was truly winter, meant that the employees were working anywhere from 60 to 75, 80 hours a week, almost double time, if I'm not mistaken, correct? They won't be doing that there, but we still will have a county road to plow. You'll see that when we get down under the revenues where we do get that money back. Gas is down, snow removal salaries is down. I got state call out down a little bit. We might be playing with that. We'll still be getting some state call out for taking care of the sidewalks. I believe you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully with all those other numbers down, some of the stuff in the benefits line should also be down. And you'll notice down under lines 340 and 341, we've removed the plow truck that we won't be purchasing to plow the state beat. And that would have been a yearly payment for 5, if not 6 or 7 years with the cost of the new trucks that were out there. The excavator that we had been budgeting for a couple of years, we were able to take that out because highway had enough money in it to purchase that excavator outright. So we didn't have to take a loan out on that. So you see spending is down by 18%. But if you flip the page, you get into revenues. And you'll see the difference in 175,000 coming off of what had been anticipated for the plowing of the state beat, the increased numbers that the state was willing to put out there. But in the board's opinion and in Sean's opinion, it wasn't enough to cover the new equipment, work, the men. It was time to move on. But that's a huge removal from the budget. I'm anticipating that we might be plowing the county roads a little bit differently. So I've got a number increase there. But that's roughly $159,000 less, 60% less in revenues coming in. So highway's making a pretty big impact on the budget this year. All right, fire and ambulance contracts, I've got them up $4,000 each. They even amount to both. And is that it? I didn't skip over anything, did I? Oh, benefits. Did I skip over? No, I didn't. I did that. You know, I've been droning on the budget. Anybody have any questions on the budget? Again, the critical part that everybody always asks first and foremost, going back to the increase for the tax rate. Last year's rate per thousand was $6.15. And it's anticipated if we pass this budget tonight that the new rate will be $6.32, an increase of 17 cents per thousand, an increase of 2.73%. I read that right?
Mhm.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Bonnie says I read it right.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, where were we? We'll leave the budget hearing open till the end of the night. If anybody thinks of anything else, or if they're seeing something on the page that I might have glossed over yet again. Crossing off your list.
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing all right?
Yep.
All right. Burn Park Master Plan?
Supposed to be a budget open for the 911 numbering. too. Is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, that's on
Yeah,
here.
public hearing.
I couldn't
Public
remember
hearing.
when
We have,
That's still open.
No, it didn't open.
We know.
The
we haven't opened that yet.
But you did.
No,
Oh,
we did.
oh, yeah, the local law. Okay, yeah. Oh,
We have to schedule that for next month.
no, we.
It was-
We scheduled it for this month.
Do we have a motion to open the public hearing on the 911 renumbering?
I'll second it.
Discussion? This has been a very long process and I want to thank all those involved from the Assessor and Codes Office, Information Office, the board, and especially Andrew Khalil has been working on this for probably 15 or 20 years
Or more.
or more.
Definitely.
20 plus.
20 plus. So big thank you to Andrew for that. And I think we're about to cross that line if we can get through the public hearing that I just opened. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, so carried. We're renumbering on 911 and it's gonna go into effect on January 1st. Your house numbers will be changing. I know we mentioned it last month. Do we have anything that we can put out online showing what the new numbers are going to be yet?
Yeah, John would be the answer to that.
Yeah,
question.
I'm gonna have more of a final list next week. Me and Andrew are gonna go and speak with John Spanfelder down in Kirkland County 911 and hammer out all the little details that we've come up with already and then should have more of a final list.
Okay, so we're not quite there yet.
And then there'll be a mailing, right?
All right,
And there'll be a mailing. So everybody's gonna get a mailing thing.
Yep.
But there will be a sheet that's public information.
Yep.
We'll have everybody's stuff on it. It's just not quite there yet.
now, if I remember looking at was it the Excel document that was sent?
Yeah,
It's long.
it is.
It's very, very long. Is that something we can keep open until next month, or was that something they needed to hear from us now?
We needed it.
If it was me, I'd be voting on it now
Yeah,
so
you
that they
need
can
to.
get this thing finalized, get them letters out.
Again, Andrew's been working on this for 20 plus years. Is there anybody in the public that has anything that they would like to add for the 911 renumbering at this point in time? This will be one of the shortest public hearings we've ever done.
Yeah, it'll be a headache for a little while, but it's totally worth it. It'll
Totally.
be worth it when it's
I
done.
just have a general question about it, because as far as like businesses go and everything like that, Google listings, will that transfer over immediately, or do we need to report to Google those changing from our sides, or?
I don't mean to be smart ass by saying yes. Part of the painful process in this is going to be getting UPS, FedEx, the post office to agree to the new numbers. And
It's fine, I just didn't know.
then, even though it's been done the right way, getting any of them to use it is, you know, it's been an issue in the past.
Yeah.
As we have changed the numbers once before or twice before, I believe.
Yeah, this is definitely way more drastic.
It
Everybody's going.
is.
Even the streets that were renumbered 20 years ago when Andrew went around that first time and gave like stock lane all numbers and stuff like that. they're all gonna have new numbers. Most of them are gonna get a 1 put in front of their number, like my mother, she's 11 Murdoch Mountain, she'll be 111 Murdoch Mountain.
I would say that that's not the general case.
Yeah, she's very lucky because there's nobody else in front of her.
Nobody else.
Yeah, well, so the stock lane though, that's, we measured them, right,
Yeah, the people Route 28, the numbers are gonna be 4 digits.
Oh, absolutely.
So sure,
I didn't say anything about
No, but the ones that Andrew did, those are different. Those are different. Anyway, I don't know if that answered your question, Stephen, or not. I still have issues with a couple of the carriers, just think, well, depending on who you're using. Peter winds up with stuff on his porch that's supposed to be my house.
I mean, I'm not worried about deliveries, FedEx or anything like that. I'm worried about customers realizing what our locations are in town.
Gotcha.
I think you're gonna need to notify them.
What's that?
I would think that you're gonna need to notify them. You're gonna have to go into your profile on Google and change the address. I'm only guessing this, but what we're talking about here is, like the 911 people and the delivery people are gonna get like a mass batch and say, look, this was 24 South Shore Road, now it's whatever it is. And so they'll have both things and they'll be able to move that. But without you actually changing your address and notifying other people, it ain't gonna happen. So there's gonna be some work on everybody's part. And nobody's totally discounting your old number. So if you were to call 911 on January 2nd and say, my number is 169-28, they're still gonna be able to find it in the system. It's not just gonna go away.
We can pass it again next month. We can pass it
It'll
to
be a
consecutive months.
crossover.
Right, Bonner and I had just been talking that, what I'd like to do is obviously, I would like to make a motion to pass it tonight. And then I'm gonna bring it up again next month to pass it, just so that we're completely covered
Right.
Yeah,
all the way around.
yeah, well, I think we should pass it tonight. We
Yep.
should continue to mention it next month,
Yep.
and the following month.
Yep.
Yeah.
People are gonna get the letters and they're still not gonna know what to do with them.
Right.
You know,
Any other questions on 911 renumbering? We'll make a motion for the first passage.
I'll offer it.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Yet again, thanking everybody involved and especially Andrew Khalil. All in favor, or would you want to roll call vote on that?
No, you can do just that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried unanimously. Have I forgotten any other public hearings?
No, that was even on my list. I still forgot.
All right. Communications. The shelter is up on top of the hill. The county is helping us rework it. We've had a couple of kerfluffles in the last week with some scheduling and usage or whatever, but the 911 conversation is very poignant. We had to reiterate to the county yet again that all our calls for 911 need to go through the Herkimer PSAB. I want to make that statement again, public record. The county is having its own issues with trying to get its numbers directed to the county. They're coming off of Oak Mountain apparently and going to Albany and.
Right, and any other cell towers in the county right now are going to the state police like they
Yep.
used to 20 years ago, because they can't send them to the local PSAB if they don't have a PSAB. And when they're building their PSAB, they have to say that it's for the whole county, because that's the way PSABs work.
And PSAB stands for?
I have no idea.
No, it's another acronym. It was. give me-
Public safety.
Give me a
Anyway,
minute.
He had it in his list.
yeah, he had it in his letters. Anyways, it's the 911 call center is what a PSAB is.
Yes.
It had to send Herb and Andrew down to the county to reaffirm with them that our calls, our service area is over the line. We're responsible. We're answering calls in Eagle Bay, correct? And possibly soon Big Moose. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Whatever.
Let's not go down that road, okay?
I didn't say definite.
Yeah, there's the 2 towers that we have here
Spillover.
mostly reach into Herkimer County.
Yep.
So if they were to take these towers and put them through there, most of the calls that are coming into those towers are coming from out of the county. Doesn't make any sense.
Sense.
Emergency services, all of our stuff goes south.
Yep.
All the people we work with are in the south. We never go the other way with the ambulance. We never go the other way for anything. So it only makes sense we go this way.
We passed a local law 2 years ago that finally got registered with the state last year. When the Verizon tower went online, we started noticing an issue that our calls were the same direction. And it did cause a couple of situations where there were delays in response. And that could be catastrophic. Thank goodness we passed that local law
Yes.
that said all calls, whether they're generated from Wi-Fi, cellular, or landlines, are to go through the Herkimer County as long as we maintain our contract with them. I believe it was literally spelled right out in the law.
Yes, it is. It
We
is.
provided a copy of that law to the county yet again, and they're fully aware of that. I'll keep you posted next month. Hopefully, we're still moving on the same footprint. But one of the things that we have done with the crowdsourced funding money that was raised locally, if anybody contributed to that, that money has gone to pay for the shelter, the installation of the shelter, the installation of the generator, the connection of the power, any of the work that's been done up there for the Herkimer County communications to this point, be it the cell towers themselves physically, the legal and the engineering, for putting the towers up, for us getting the lease with the landowner, spelling out in the lease even who's responsible for taking the towers down when they are at end of life. The branches on the tower, everything except for the cell equipment and the radio antennas that are going to be going on it, and the radio equipment in that shelter are owned by the town of Inlet. That it was not the case down in Old Forge, the town of Webb, with the original cell tower that is owned by National,
And it's owned by
Grid.
National Grid, yes.
probably still says Niagara Mohawk on the lease. That's why they had to put up their new tower, but that's where the microwave connection is gonna be coming from on the new tower in Old Forge, Macaulay Mountain to Corsani's Hill, and then bouncing to Blue. That'll complete a circuit for the county, so it'll be improved communications and provide us with a backup should our connection to Herkimer ever go down. I know that's a lot of updates, but I just wanted to make sure that that was in the record, and she's writing as fast as she possibly can over here. Planning board. Anything from the planning board?
I'm still working on the master plan. I have received some more updates. I have a couple that I haven't worked into the plan yet, that I'm trying to figure out how to work them in. Best way to work them in, but there is an updated version dated October 25th on the website.
Gotcha.
It was highlighted, but, still looking for more goals and looking for action items and, there's no rush with this plan, but, we thought we were gonna adopt a new plan in 2024. That would have been the 5-year thing. It's now like 2025.
We can blame it on COVID.
Sure.
Everything else is being blamed on COVID.
Yeah, and part of that is the Fern Park master plan. We want to work that into the plan as well. I did recently get an email from Robin Hill asking if I wanted help with those plans. I said, yes, please. So I'll be working with them hopefully. And Tim, I've been meaning to reach out to Tim because he was on that master plan, Fern Park master plan committee.
Printed the map, so we've never used all the survey.
So, if we have meetings, we start meeting again, you still interested in?
Absolutely.
I was hoping you'd like spearhead it and run it and all that, right?
Absolutely. No, I do have the maps.
All right.
If we get,
I have to run home for a second.
couple people.
Okay.
Oh,
Can I have to leave for a second. I'll be back.
Is he out completely?
Yeah, I don't know about completely, but we used to have all of his files that he had shared with us.
Okay. Leave me no. Ray still on? Ray?
Ray Cardella?
No. no.
Oh, Ray Cope. I don't know if Ray's still.
I haven't, I'll ask him about.
Yeah.
First meeting.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember who was in the meeting.
Right, what else was there? It's been so long.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ben.
yeah. If I see Ray, I'll ask him. Wasn't he chairman? No.
He was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, and then we had that new group with Dan Keeper was. I don't think Ray joined that one.
Dan's out, now. He's just too busy.
he is busy. I'm sure he would help, but
Yeah.
he's not able to like lead it.
Okay, all right, you got that squared away?
I guess.
All right, so what's this?
Oh, don't.
I took
not
over
your
the meeting,
turn.
John went home, he didn't give me a budget, I don't know what's going on.
For an agenda, you mean?
An agenda, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I got a budget, yes. So this is, I guess we have another request for a traffic study for speed on Uncas Road. Is that correct?
The gravel section.
On the gravel section. So, we need a motion, we've done at least, we know how many of these in the past? We have done many of these in the past. They've done the studies, they've come back and they said 55 is what it is. We will ask again. I don't know if anything's gonna change. Because nothing's changed on the road, right?
Right.
So I don't know why they would change what they're saying, but,
It's just a request to try to get the speeds reduced.
I understand what it is. I'm saying that we've tried this many times, but, so I need a motion to,
I'd make a motion.
John made a motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Dan to, persuade the county superintendent of highways of the county request the Department of Transportation pursue section 1622.1 of the vehicle traffic law to establish a lower speed limit on which vehicles may proceed on, then the road, and we fill this out. So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll put it out again. You never know, you may get different results. Next.
Just ask if any of the department heads have anything to add. to the
Oh.
report.
Do any of the department heads have anything to add? They say that good?
Things in the minute.
What?
Like in the agenda.
Yeah. My
Every-
report's attached.
All the reports are attached to the agenda. Perfect, perfect. I love it.
Sorry.
I was asked to mention, that Adirondack Ice Bowl is coming back to.
I
the
see
area, which is
that.
Very exciting. We're welcoming it back. It's gonna be off Eagle Bay Village, which is partly in the town of Inlet. So, they've reached out to John to make sure they get permits for their tents and stuff that they're gonna put up. But it's also the same weekend as Frozen Fire and Lights.
Uh-huh,
So we will work together, these two events, and make sure that it is an awesome weekend.
perfect.
People did enjoy that.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing coming back. Yeah, I saw that on.
Hope we get ice. Yeah.
I hope we get it. But so our fireworks will probably be at 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. So that is something that needs to be noted.
I would just like to thank Stephen Cole for another great summer of watering our town flowers.
All right,
Really appreciate it, Stephen.
thank you.
Thank you.
The flowers, thank you.
Yeah. Had a rough time this season, but we got by.
Always next year.
As always next year. What else we got? I don't think we,
I got a few things.
okay, she's got, all
Under
right,
me.
well, you go next, then I
Okay.
got something else, but you go first.
Okay. I have a letter from the maintain the chain. Dear Mr. Fry, over the past 4 years, our organization has focused on engaging and educating community members about protecting and stewarding the precious resources of the Fulton Chain environment. We believe our dedication to health and prosperity of our lakes aligns closely with the town of Webb's mission. I want to take a moment to express our gratitude to you and the town of Inlet for our ongoing support. And then they go on to explain the program, and I'll print this in the minutes or wherever it's lengthy, but, he just explains that additionally, the Maintain the Chain event saw over 215 participants across 60 teams engaging in self-directed, environmentally focused projects aimed at preserving the Fulton Chain and the Adirondack Park. They conclude their 4th year of Maintain the Chain events. They are proud to say they have become a beloved ecocentric community tradition. Thank you once again for your support. That was a letter from Fulton Chain. I have my quick monthly report for town clerk. Revenue was 3,870. And that's it. What?
Other than, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Officer Baker. We talked the budget. I don't know where you're at with this, and I don't think John Fry mentioned it earlier, but we were talking about this UTV thing that you're interested in. And, I think we're pretty much got this in the budget to do. So, and I know that the town of Inlet, the fire department and Eagle Bay Fire Department all want to purchase them. Are you familiar with what's going on with all that? So if you get together with them and get some prices, we're gonna need, a couple prices for procurement, that kind of thing, but, maybe. Okay, all right, so we'll look forward to, I know the fire department still, I don't think they have final figures yet, but
No, we got figures. We're actually trying now to see these accessory packages if they pertain to one model over another or another
Okay.
manufacturer.
all right.
As long as they were.
I know you had this last night, so.
Yeah, they kind of settled that up. Monday night?
uh,
Yeah, Monday night,
Monday
we
night.
finished that up, yeah, so.
So that's all, and I know he didn't mention it earlier, so I wanted to make sure that got mentioned. That we used to have a vehicle here that we were sharing with Old Forge, and now they have it back, so we need that vehicle for winter patrol. Okay? And what's next?
Living ADK.
Living ADK,
Yeah, thank you. Just a few quick updates.
sure,
We'll be attending an event in Indian Lake on the 18th of November, on behalf of Inlet, to hear from the Hamilton County Local Food Connections and Fair Food Card Program, just to get awareness and understand what their programs are and learn about how to distribute information to the community here that benefit from that. Another food program, we just received a grant through Community Foundation for $20,000 for a new food security program for Inlet and Webb seniors. So we're looking to roll that out in January. It involves delivering lunches to seniors in need weekly.
Mhm.
So anybody that has someone that they're aware of that has a need, or offices know. You may have seen the papers, we rolled out our short to long-term rental catalyst program, and we did receive a grant from Cloudspitter Foundation for $10,000 to help with incentives for that. It's education to create that incentive to move to long-term. We did release our third Inlet Tower disbursement check, and I think have a remaining balance for some of the miscellaneous expenses that we're still holding. Then lastly, we have our bagels and blood pressure event at the ambulance offices in Old Forge tomorrow, 10 to 12. Health and wellness and some insurance services there. And it's the last thing is Scott McCarthy, our last board meeting, Scott McCarthy is going to become our board president starting next year. So we'll be taking over somebody that Scott. It's going for it. So that's all. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
We're just on snowmobile.
I thought for sure you would have adjourned the meeting by now.
Guess I could have done that. All right, so we covered some more stuff. Talked about the snowmobile UTV. And we just did Cab 21 that's now a living ADK.
You're on
You do the
snowmobile.
state thing?
Yep, the state then.
Snowmobile, I think that's where you would probably be, or your report and snowmobile, yeah.
Did you do assessor codes, parks?
Yeah,
We did.
Ah,
They said everything was.
Oh, you didn't say anything.
Oh,
One thing to add, grace period for submitting an application for a short-term rental is ending December 1st, so I've gotten a lot of applications, processed quite a few of them already. So don't make me hunt you down.
the web is a wonderful place to see what's going on. All on there. And again, our intent with that whole thing was just to make sure that people still can rent, but do it in the right way and not offend the neighbors and protect the public.
Life safety stuff.
Yep. All right. According to the internet, snowmobiling looks like it's gonna be good. John, is ADK Snowmobile want to report anything? You've got a meeting coming up?
Do, there's a few things I want to talk about. I don't know if you want me to wait till public comment or just.
Perfect right now.
I'm gonna try to keep this about half the length of what my father or my uncle would do. But I can tell you, before I even get started, looking at the flag and back, I know the first thing Dad would say is you need to bring up some two-sided tape.
Full exposure.
I will give them something to do tomorrow, take a trip to Home Depot. But just, just a few general remarks, observations. Again, I've said it before. I can't thank the board, the town enough for your commitment for snowmobiling and the level of cooperation you've extended me with the ADK Snowmobile Advocates Group. And for everybody here, just, wondering what ADK Snowmobile Advocates is, it's an experiment that went out of control. It was never expected to be where it is to the level 12 months ago, simply to take my background in finance, economics, snowmobile clubs, I love the snowmobiling, the Adirondacks, connect all the clubs, the towns, and municipalities, and the Adirondack Park together. And before long, it gained traction overnight, particularly here, town of Webb, Inlet. And obviously I had something to do with it, being that I snowmobile predominantly in this area, but never thought a year ago I'd be sitting in board meetings advocating on behalf of snowmobilers. But I can say early on, it became very apparent that, for a number of reasons, for years, like social media or not, there's a lot of negativity that was persisting. I think a lot of that has gone down. We're still going to have those that have their opinions on the railroad tracks, what to do with them. I don't think we're going to completely get rid of that. But I think in general, the feeling I get from the snowmobilers is they feel very good that there's communication happening. And it was very apparent early on that you've got snowmobilers, residents, business owners, and the municipalities. And how do you adapt to changing world? You've got growth of the sport over the years, the economics of the sport, and you throw in a few bad winters on top of it, and coming off the permit dispute. I think it's brought a lot of us closer together. We're having open dialogue that was long overdue. So I see a lot of positives. I've been fortunate to have established a good rapport with Sean, with Adele, where things can be addressed if they need to now in a timely manner. In fact, Sean connected me with Chip. I was over meeting with Chip and Patrick Quinn over yesterday, Chip Sauer and Patrick Quinn, and had the opportunity to go in and learn about their equipment, the pride they take in what they're doing and maintaining the trails, and just really just had a great experience. Chip took me out in the side-by-side, some of the areas where we knew we'd be avoiding bullets, and it was great. But the ride along was great, but it really didn't do the justice for the trails that I think that snowmobilers are going to see this winter. I mean, it's just great stuff. When I went out there yesterday, I haven't ridden the trails. I could see the noticeable improvements, but until we actually get the snow, I think that's when the snowmobilers are really they're going to be impressed with all the work and the commitment that this town has made to snowmobiling. It's something everyone should be proud of. What I am doing next Thursday, and it was actually in conversations with Linda Wheel at the Old Forge Library, is I am putting on a town hall meeting to hear the snowmobile safety concerns of residents and business owners from the town of Webb and Inlet. Public officials, law enforcement, EMS personnel, anyone for that matter is welcome to attend. I think, if you know that I feel very strongly that snowmobilers have a responsibility to this area. It's a privilege to ride. I said this last night in Webb's board meeting, and I'll say it here. And at the same time, while the snowmobilers need direction, there's an equal responsibility that we all have. We all have to the community, and we need to sometimes take a step back and really understand maybe where some of these problems in the past came from and what we could do now to try to hopefully listen and better understand the concerns that are out there. I don't think we're gonna resolve everything, but we can take that information and adjust accordingly as we need to. So I really feel that, you know, when we look back at the past year, there is a tremendous amount of headway that's been made doing this. This event's next Thursday at 5:30. Again, everyone's welcome. It's at the Old Forge Library. And I'd like to see the relationship strengthened, not only with residents, business owners, the community, but also with law enforcement, Chief Baker. I know there's some concerns right now down in Webb with the staffing issues. What I don't want to see, and I think what most snowmobilers don't want to see, is that assuming we get a decent winter, when everyone converges on this area from out of state, we don't want to see it turn into a Wild West environment. So I am certainly making a commitment myself and several other social media page administrators, where we have an outreach now of well over 50,000. I know we have a lot of duplicate subscribers, but the point being, we've got the outreach through social media. And I really believe we all need to be using it effectively to communicate going into this season and doing our part. I'd like to at least have some kind of regular communication with law enforcement in both communities to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You know, last year, and it's a black eye we have to deal with, but this area was 25% of the fatalities in the state. That's never good. I've talked with Dan Ribbit about that in the past. And anything we could do to start addressing these things, and again, do our part on behalf of snowmobiling, I think is imperative. I said this last night, it's easy to blame government for not facilitating certain things, but I also believe there's a responsibility of the end user to do their part, and in this case, the snowmobile community. And where you've got a unique situation here is that you've got many people that belong. This is one of the interesting observations. Many people from out of state that come here to snowmobile, recreate, they join clubs like the Barnstormers, but they're not truly actively involved in snowmobiling beyond the winter season. And often they'll join just to get the registration discount. And that's where there's a huge void or disconnect in the snowmobile world. And that's where I think the importance of this whole advocacy initiative here is so valuable, again, to get everybody on the same page. And I think there's a lot more we can continue to do. But again, I just want to thank everyone, and I hope that we can work together and have some dialogue outside of here too, to try to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction before the season starts. Thank you.
You are not your uncle or your father.
A little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had you been your uncle, you would have asked something about my wife too, but anyway, all right.
Pre-season sales on Friday.
Ah.
Okay.
And is it too early to ask how preseason sales are?
Yeah, it's too early. I only have October's numbers figured out. Ask me after Friday.
Gotcha.
Yes, yesterday.
Does it look encouraging?
It's lower. October's numbers are lower than this year. And
I,
last year's were lower than.
well, we kind of figured with the season that we'd had, that was gonna be the situation. People are waiting to see what.
Seasons, yeah.
Yeah, for the,
Yeah, there's a lot of winter seasonal rentals sitting vacant.
Sitting vacant, yep,
Yeah,
Yep.
always happens.
yep.
alrighty.
Hard and fast, and
They'll fill out.
they'll fill up if it's early in the season. So
Depending on which weather forecast you look at, it's gonna happen, or it might not.
Yeah. You got it covered.
And what do I think? I tend to agree with them. All right, we still have a budget hearing open, correct?
yes,
Any other questions on the budget? Hearing none, would anybody like to make a motion to pass the budget for next year for the town of Inlet?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Discussion? We'll see how things shake out with a few changes here and there. Do you want a roll call vote on this?
Councilman Brownsell, Councilman Schmidt,
Yep,
Supervisor Fry,
Aye.
Councilman Levy,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson.
Aye.
Very good. Passed unanimously. We still have a public hearing open
That's something else open. I can't remember what it is. There's-
Well,
on,
the only
on the
thing-
Zoom meeting law.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
No, we
vote on
voted that.
You
We voted on that
that,
one.
Yeah, but
Voted
you
on
didn't
that.
close it. You voted on it. And then you've got to close both.
Okay.
We
So we have to close them before we vote on
Closed
them?
on them before we voted on them, just saying.
I don't think you did. Let me look.
No, but I.
He's talking
Yes, we
procedure,
did.
procedural.
Yes, I think we did.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I make a motion, we close the public hearing. Just in case we didn't.
Okay.
I'll second it. Discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that's the way that works.
I actually don't have any executive session tonight, I don't believe.
Wow.
Unless somebody can think of one, I don't want one. Public comment? Okay, folks, thanks for coming. Next regular meeting is December. December 11th. Here, you.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
We haven't adjourned yet, we gotta pay bills.
Yeah.
Motion to pay highway,
That one that's missing last night that I.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to pay general and sewer?
Second.